Today we are joined by John Hardy, aka The Hardy Life, on Facebook. Now, obviously you're a Sunderland lad. A lot of people who have seen your face before will definitely recognise you from Facebook. I know I certainly do. I actually did know you previous to your YouTube career and your social media career, shall we say. What interested me about you, John, is you've just hit 10k on Facebook. In this crazy world a lot of people are getting into now of vlogging on the streets and creating content like that. I just want to strip it right back because, again, people will have saw you on Facebook, and I'm sure parts of this interview will go out on Facebook. Why did a lad from Sunderland, how old are you now?
37.
A 37-year-old decide to step into the world of social media, and how the hell did you manage to grow that quickly?
It's a good question. Thanks for having us on. So the way that I got into this, Danny Vlogs essentially ignited the match. He was having a go off it. He decided he wanted to pursue vlogging as his potential future career. And he kept saying how he was enjoying it and he was passionate about it. And he felt like he wanted someone along for the ride, someone who he felt would be good at it, might come across well, and kind of complement his content, I guess. And that's where I came along. I was initially a bit resistant. I was starting with the mentality of what a lot of people have, which is no one's going to be interested in what I've got to say or do. I did mention at the start to a couple of people, I'm thinking about doing this, and the response was, well, you're going to the gym, you're going to have tea, and you're going to sleep. What are you going to show on camera? But in the end, I decided to bite the bullet. And yeah, here I am 10k followers later. It's crazy. I put down the reason I grew so quick. Mainly, I had a really good head start. Richie Howie, who's on socials, runs his own kind of fitness page and stuff. He gave me a shout out when I was at 1,300 followers, and because he's from Sunderland, and he said he was watching my little vlogs, and it was just giving him that nostalgia of back home and that kind of feeling of home. And so he did a shout out for us on his page, and I went from 1,300 followers to like 4,300 overnight. I woke up and I was like, is that a typo? What's going on here? Mm-hmm. And then I seen he tagged us in it and he put a lovely message, and it was like, that got me a good head start. But then I think from there, I just try and keep things authentic and try and make it so whoever's watching can resonate with what I'm saying. And it's natural. I don't want to force anything on everyone, and I want people to feel like they're there as I'm doing it and get involved. So I think Richie Howie, massive head start. And then I think that authenticity that hopefully comes across has got us to the 10k.
Because I know that my first memories of you, mate, was Asda. And we were talking the other day, funny enough, and we both went to the same school. Didn't know each other. You were literally a year above. I think you were a year above me.
Yeah.
And I think it's crazy. And I actually said this to the boxer Josh Kelly, who's a good mate of mine. But we'd never crossed paths through school. I know he went to St Aidan's and we went to Southie, but it was mad to think similar age. We know a lot of the same people, but we never crossed paths. And obviously, it's took something like content for me and you to kind of cross paths again, which is mad, really. But obviously, when you worked at Asda and stuff, what were your goals then?
If I'm being totally honest, I don't think I had any. I was at that stage in life where I'd done the school thing, I'd done the college thing. I probably went to college just because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I've come out with some half-assed qualification that isn't really relevant to my life, and it's like, right, what's the next step? I've ended up at Asda a couple of years along the route. I was just spinning my wheels. It wasn't like I didn't have any goals. I didn't feel like I wanted to achieve anything. But it wasn't like getting us down. That was just how I felt at the time. I've got a job. I wanted to have me Saturday nights out. That's what I was having. And that was kind of my life. It was aimless, but I was happy with aimless. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until a couple of things in my life I came across kind of ignited the match where I started thinking long term. And once I started thinking about one thing long term, where do I want to go from here, it led on to another and another. And you'll know yourself when you like set yourself, even if it's the smallest goal, and you achieve it, it makes you want to go to the next one. And before you knew it, I'd like lit this match where I wanted to be the best I could be. Mm. So I went from pretty aimless, going nowhere, bit of a waste of space, to be honest, to this person who was like driven and was like, right, no, I'm going to sort my life out and I want to get a job I'm passionate about. I want to do this. I want to do this.
What was it that you're saying that kind of made you ignite the match? What did you see where you thought, I need to get my life in order here?
There was two things. One was my girlfriend at the time. She turned around one day and pretty much said, we need to finish, and because you've got no ambition, was the words. And whereas she was very ambitious, she had all these aspirations to be in, I think it was in law and that kind of thing, which obviously hurt, because at the time I was kind of in denial, like that's such a bad reason, blah, blah, blah. But on reflection, she was right. Like, who wants to be with a partner who's just like, you've got all this ambition and lofty dreams, and then they're just spinning the wheels in the corner with nothing? You've got to be able to like carry each other and support each other's goals. So that was one match. In the second match, it was in Asda, and it's a really specific example. But I was on the shop floor doing my work, and I was just going through the motions, no particular inspiration, for instance, to put juice on a shelf. And my manager came up and was like asking how I was doing. And I was saying, I'm just putting this out, and I must have been taking a little bit of time. And she was like, the words were, are you thick? Like, that's what I got. And it was a dressing down on the shop floor. And again, she was right. Like, at the time, I was probably not holding myself accountable and thinking, she's not right, that's not a way to speak to someone. In reality, she was right. I was just lazy. So again, I think it was like I'll show you what I can do. And even though it was only Asda, my work ethic improved from that point. So I had my ex-girlfriend who said, you've got no ambition, who was right. And then my manager who dressed us down, who was right. And both those things are kind of led to, I will show you what I am capable of. And really, I've got to thank them both, because I for sure would not be where I am today without those matches.
It's like you've kind of used them as that inertia point, like to actually get out the gates. And I understand that totally, getting told that by your partner must have been, for a young lad who likes his Saturday nights and working at Asda, doing what he's got to do to keep the money in. I understand where that motivation would have come from. However, what I will say, I don't think you'd necessarily don't have ambition if you work at Asda. And it's so funny I say this, because I've kind of led a path that doesn't reflect that, if you like. But when I worked at Asda, Carphone Warehouse, Nissan's, all these places, I felt purposeless for me. I didn't feel like I didn't have ambition, because I did in that job. And, if any old managers are watching this, they'll go, there was something about him, I'm sure they'd say that. Because I used to have conversations with managers about, like, how do you grow? How do you do this? How do you do that? But one thing I used to always remember specifically, so it did happen in Asda as well, which is wild that you brought that up. I'm not going to mention the name, but there was a manager in Asda in particular. And I remember we both finished at the same time, and I was on the petrol station at the time. So I went over there, and in my head, I'm training on all departments. So I've done the beers, wine, spirits, I've done the freezers, I've done this, I'm like, right, I'm a 360 employee, if you like. I remember they put us on the petrol station. I was like, right, sound. And when I finished, we had to take the money back from the safe and all that. And one of the managers was finishing at the time. And I know this is, and I don't mean to sound this in a bad way, but I remember him walking back to his car, and he was pissed off, really pissed off. And he was annoyed that things hadn't been right. And I always remember at the end of the shift, we had to face everything up on the shelf. And I remember him fuming about that. And I was like, right, well, there's two ways I can look at this. Yes, you're fuming about things having been faced up on the shelf. Small problem to have, but if that's what you're fuming at, your life must be all right, if that's your problem. Yeah. But then on the flip side, I thought, he's going back to a car that I remember him angry, because his car was going in the garage the next day. And he was kicking off about his car, and he was expressing how sick he was of his life. And as soon as I looked at that, I thought, that's my projection. Yeah. That's where I'm going to be. And I didn't want to be that. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but for me personally, it's not something I wanted. And I remember them days when I'd failed so bad inside. For someone like yourself, mate, obviously you went from that kind of role, and you got all this external motivation. What was the career you ended up going into to kind of prove to the world that you were worth more than the job you were in? Yeah,
it's quite an interesting path, to be honest. I mean, to be fair, you're right about Asda. It's not the Asda not being an ambition. It was more, I was in a job without the motivation to do it properly or progress. I think if you choose Asda as your job, and you commit to it and you're good at it, those are like jobs that are essential, and it is a brilliant job if you put your heart into it. My mistake at Asda was, once I had that motivation, I stepped up to be a section leader, and I didn't have the love for it. So that kind of forced me hand to look for another job, which brings us on to my career path, and that is, I ended up working, applying for an autistic job at college for autistic adults, and it was a learning support assistant just up the Cedars, and it involved being in classes with autistic adults, helping them with the work, complete the courses, accessing the community, that type of stuff. And I got the job there, and I've always been a people person, and I've got a lot of empathy, I feel. People would say that, I think. Just the thought of like vulnerable people and not having the best life kills me inside, really does. And I got this job, and again, mixed with an ambition to find something I really want to do. And that people side, I fell on my feet and found the job that I love, which is that one that I've just mentioned. And I've never looked back. I've been with ESPA, they're called, Education Services for People with Autism. And it ranges from colleges to social provisions, residentials, supported living. Very big charity across the Northeast. And I've stuck with them ever since. And to be fair, they've stuck with me, and they've given me a lot of progressive opportunities to the point where I now manage one of the social provisions.
Unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable, that. And I mean, you can tell that you're a caring type of lad. You just come across that way, mate, I will say. And it's so funny because a lot of these people who are in the normal jobs don't understand that. They could have this passion or this desire to help people, whether it's help provide a service, whatever it may be, but helping people with learning difficulties or whatever kind of thing it is, to know that people have that, and because they've never been exposed to it, they don't realise how good they could be, to a point where you're now managing that provision, which is, again, it's remarkable. But what was your upbringing like, John? Because have you always recognised you had empathy and stuff like that? I guess a lot of people would say, I bet you anyone watching now, do you care for people who are vulnerable? I bet you they'd all say aye. But how many people go into that role? Yeah.
Do you know what? It's funny. I can have specific examples in my head, even back from when I was at school. There was a girl in my class at school, and I'm talking early comp, and she had Down syndrome, and she really struggled with her work and stuff. And I just remember as a kid offering to help her as a fellow pupil. And you know what? To me at the time, that was just something to do as a human being. But when I look back, I don't think many...
You alright, people? Hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Here's a random one for you. Most of you who are actually watching this episode don't actually subscribe to it. So just do us a favour, will you? Can you click the like button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss another episode, hit subscribe, all that good stuff, because we go up and down the country to try and bring you the best show possible. We're not messing around here, so please just show some love, will you?
Classmates my age would have done that. It was almost... I don't want to be disrespectful. It was almost saying, like, she's different, we shouldn't get involved in helping her. That's what the teacher's for. Whereas I felt like a pull to help her with her work. And God, that's not me being like the hero. It's just explaining, like, that was where I think initially I could recognise I can kind of connect with people here. And they might have struggles, they might have differences to me. But at the end of the day, we are all human. We all should be pulling each other through, whether we've got difficulties, complex needs or what. So that's a bespoke example from when I was young. And then just throughout smatterings of my life, just the thought of people being like, I don't know, being bullied, being dissed and that, if it's been part of a friendship group, I've never liked it. I straight away, in my head, think about how they're feeling going home. And that upsets me. And it's at the stage now where I've got this provision. And that's where I'm at with our cohort, our service users. Like the thought of them not living their best life, us not giving them the best care and support possible. The thought of it properly upsets us. Even just the thought, even though they're getting it. I feel myself getting a little bit emotional about it now when I talk about it, because it's like I've never had a brother and sister. Those are my brothers and sisters, and I want the best for my brothers and sisters. Me upbringing, can't complain, faultless. I mean, my mum and dad split up when I was about 10, and of course that hits you hard. But I wouldn't say it had a major impact on me well-being going forward. I think it was more me upbringing, again, when I hit school and comp and that lack of ambition kind of sort of just bed in a little bit. But me upbringing, can't complain about it at all. Wasn't bullied. I would say I was a classic in-betweener. I was like, I would talk to the popular kids, but then I would also talk to the kind of the nerds, if you like, the geeks, because I had stuff in common with them. Whether I was being a people pleaser, which I think still something I am today a bit. I try and please everyone. But I think it was also that empathy side again, where no, these people are just as valued as these people. Now, the social norms are telling you gravitate to these ones because everyone's talking to them. But I just saw everyone as, well, you're just people and I've got stuff in common with you and you. Why would I choose a side?
The kind of people who you're helping, and kind of your brothers and sisters, if you like now, or your family, if you will, like, what's kind of the range of disability that people have? I know you've mentioned autism and stuff, and I know that in itself can totally vary. But obviously, without being, we've got to protect people and stuff. But what types of stuff do you see that when like at someone's lowest?
Yeah, I mean, so we've got autism, as you've said, but learning disability, ADHD, OCD. The things you see, it's kind of behaviours that challenge sometimes, but if you see a behaviour that challenges, it's just a form of communication. Like, that's what we're trained. It's like a lot of our guys are non-verbal, for instance, or keyword. They can't get the needs across or the wants, which is incredibly frustrating. Now, of course, if we kind of get our need across, we're going to try and find another way. And in some of our cohorts' world, that way is to present a behaviour. And it can be things like flapping a fidget toy, or it might be knocking against a wall. But it can escalate from there if the need or the want's not met. Now, in our provision, I think because there's a lack of demand, they take autonomy over their timetable and what they want to do. There's not a lot of stress on them, so we see the best of them. And in turn, I think they get the best out of life because they've got so much ownership and autonomy and independence over what they want to do. So it's very rare, touch all the wood in this room, that we do see a behaviour that challenges.
So, these people who you look after, like, or you sort of care for, what does that look like for you on a day-to-day? Do you have, because I'm assuming, because what I'm trying to get my head around is, I know that a lot of people who have kind of disabilities in different ways, they like routine. Mm-hmm. So I would assume that you'd have a routine, but at the same time, I'm assuming every day's got to be different.
Yeah, so you'll have your general structure. So like a timetable of activities, for instance, it might be come in, have a cup of tea and a biscuit, go through your day's activities. Morning might be swimming, come back for lunch. Afternoon, trampolining or cooking or something like that. Come back for afternoon tutorial and then back home. So the general structure of it is in place, routine-wise. Have the same staff, so it's predictable. Of course, you get sicknesses and things though, which can throw a spanner in the works. But then there's also, within that, you can have a bit of flexibility. So if it's got community access on the timetable, community access, yes, it's embedded on the timetable, but it's so generic. It's then like, well, what community? Where do you want to go today? So they have that structure of, yes, I'm community, so that's predictable, but I can also decide where I want to go, giving them that flexibility and that autonomy. Mm. For me, as the manager, it's about getting that timetable right, putting the staffing together, putting reviews together, keeping an eye on the placements, staff wellbeing, hubber wellbeing, that kind of stuff. It's just a general management role in overseeing the provision.
Do you do night shift as well?
No, so with it being a college, it's educational hours still.
Right, okay.
So my provision, it's within an educational college, so it follows their pattern of hours, Monday to Friday, 8 till 4, which is ideal, of course, to fit the vlogging alongside it. So
I want to get onto the vlogging, mate, because I think that's what most people are here for, the spicy side. But I think it's really important to understand you as a character because, for one, hopefully this helps you as well, mate, but hopefully when someone's watching someone, a lot of people consume hours and hours of content, especially when it comes to YouTube. I don't know about Facebook, but I know with YouTube, they do. I know a lot of people kind of know and trust me in this space as well. And it's because of, the allotted hours, if you like, that people have saw my mug all over TV or their phones or whatever. With someone like yourself, obviously, the more of a picture I can paint with yourself, it just offers other people to understand. That guy who's vlogging around Sunderland, I literally sat down and watched your full walkthrough the other day. Sat down with our lass and watched it.
Sure.
And it was like, I always try and look at stuff as if I don't know the person. Like, I just take it for what it is. Like, is it good or is it shit?
Yeah.
And I want to be honest with it. And I was like, no, it's class, and it's a town I frequent, every week or whatever, for the last 30 odd years. And when I'm asking you backstory, I'm not trying to dig. That's what I'm getting at. I want to know you a bit more in that respect. And I think a lot of your audience certainly will. A question I've got for you on that though, when you finish your shift at 4 o'clock and go home, do you not feel bad? Like, because they're like your family and you're now not providing care?
No, because I know that either going home to family or they're going to another provision who care as much.
But do you not feel attached to the members?
Oh, I do. So they can stay with us up until they're 30, which means essentially you could be with them, supporting them for like 10 years or so. And it's attachment and detachment, and you've invested your heart and your soul into these people. So when the time does come to say leave, graduate, move on to another provision, it is really difficult. Because they're autistic, they can often sever that tie, and the minute you're not meeting a want and a need, you're forgotten. I've seen many who've left over the years, and you say hello in the town, for instance, and you might as well not be there. It's like, you're not part of my life anymore. But for me, I don't think anyone in that position or this type of role could be as invested in people every day for 10 years and then just cut off. Like, you're invested for life, I guess, and you still want to know how they're doing, how they're progressing. You still want to check in on them, even though, like I say, they probably don't give two shits that you're now not in their life.
Moving on to social media, John, because obviously, again, this is why it's really interesting for me. A lot of people don't see this right now, and I see it very clearly. I know a lot of people in this space and all that jazz, but everyone does social for a reason. You had that, well, I'm working in this school with special needs and I'm doing this, and you've got an unbelievable career, mate. When you think about it, what you're actually doing from a fulfillment / I used to work at ASDA point of view, that contrast is wild.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would dream to be in that position. I know they would. YouTube, you've hit 10K very quickly. Facebook, sorry, you've hit 10K very quickly. I know the trajectory of social media, and I know exactly when you get to certain positions, there's more demands on time and stuff. Is that something does that concern you at all? The fact that, the more success you get from social media, you're probably going to have to be in that place less? Yeah, it is. If you want.
Yeah, it is something that's crossed my mind. I think, as you see, I'm fortunate to be in the position where I love my job. I love going in every day. I'm surrounded by lovely people who I care about. So if that position was to ever come up, it would be a very difficult decision. Unlike most who are in like a job, say they maybe don't like as much though, I wouldn't make that decision unless it was like life changing. It wouldn't be a case of this vlogging can now replace my full-time job because I'll be able to pay me bills from it. It would have to be legit life changing, because I see myself doing my current job or progressing in this sector for the rest of my life. And again, leaning into that care, empathy side, that resonated with me, and that's my calling in life, which is why I've tried to bleed it into the vlogs as well, with the community stuff that you've been involved with recently as well. So it is something I may have to think about in the future, but I'll always lean to remaining where I am. I understand it'll become more demanding if I do continue to grow, but I would probably more lean to the point where I need to hold back on the vlogging a bit, balance the vlogging out a bit to meet the job, because as I say, I'm so passionate about it. Because I've got that connection emotionally with these people. Again, it's probably just me, but I don't feel like I could just leave them.
No, I really appreciate you saying that. I'm assuming you're honest in saying that, because why would I disbelieve that? But what I will say is, I think deep down, and I think anyone watching this, I'd love to know the comments, what people say, but I believe deep down that most people want a life of freedom, or to be able to do travel, say, and have an uncapped earning potential. Mm-hmm. I think I'd be fair to say that.
Yeah.
Social media can give you all of that. Mm-hmm. So and I know lads who are making serious money, like millionaires from this, like in a very, very short space of time. So do you honestly think you would be holding back on that potential to stay where you are? Is that how passionate you are?
I think that's when, like I say, if it was life-changing, like if it's getting to the point where, look, this is going to set you free from the matrix, if you like, and you are going to be financially free and have your own schedule,
from the matrix,
do what you want, then you have to consider it. You'd be a fool. I'm not going to sit here and pretend, but because I care, blah. But until there's that balance and it's not life-changing, I'll always lean to where I am. I think it's a comfort thing as well. Like, I have a right fear of failure. That's probably also what's held us back over the years. It'll have delayed us subconsciously from vlogging. But going for the job that I do now, even getting the job in the charity originally 9 years ago now, my mind straight away looks for comfort and what do you know that you're capable of. I automatically convince myself out of opportunities because I don't think I'm good enough. And people will say, whether they're blowing smoke up my ass or not, you are more than capable. You'd be really good at that. But in my mind, I'm going to just stick with the comfort. Now, not saying this job is just comfort. It has its difficult times, of course, like any job has. But if it was on that scale and there wasn't a clear trajectory of life change, I'd always fall back onto the thing I know and the thing I know I'm good at and passionate about, and I'm making a difference.
You know what's mad about that whole like thing there? Like that balance that, like, so for instance, there you think maybe doing your role at the moment is kind of path of least resistance. You care about it. It's easy, if you like. It's not a risk. It's what you know. I think that would be solid to do, like a really, really tough role. And I would instantly think I can't do that role because I would genuinely fear that I'd get attached to the members. I would feel like I know this sounds mad, right? I got a cat years ago, and you know what the first thing that came through my head was? Do I get this kitten because I'm going to watch it die?
Yeah.
And I know that sounds horrible because then it's like, where does that end? You can't even get a girlfriend. But to know that you're going to bring something into the world that's going to die before you, well, touch wood.
Yeah.
It's quite frightening because them days of heartbreak are coming. And for me cat's class. I love me cat a bit. She's like 11. She's a beast, mate. And it's like, she's mint. And I think of that and I think, when you can choose to go into that, but I also understand, of course, people need care of these type of people. Like, if anything, maybe I would be more fit for that because of that type of thing. I don't know. But when I look at people like yourself, I do think it's remarkable, like, because it's a big thing that you're doing now. Like, it's not, I think the same as school teachers. I think the same as, like, a lot of these kind of vocational roles as well, if you like, they're massive in society.
Yeah.
What I fear, and it sounds like pot calling the kettle and stuff, is when people have got these really fulfilling roles and they fuck it all off for YouTube, basically. And I know this sounds crazy because I get it. I've went down that route, the social media route, and I've been in corporate jobs and done jobs, responsible jobs. But at the same time, I used to always feel just empty at these jobs. It was weird. I don't know what it was, mate. It was like, not chip on the shoulder, but like, I know I'm worth more than this. Yeah. And I know that sounds horrible because if you're around us and you're in the same building and we're working at the same company, I'm not trying to say I'm better. It's just in my head, I'm like, I want more out of my life. And then I realised that social media can literally give you that. Yeah. And it did it. And I think that's when I realised, when I looked at yourself, I looked at Danny Vlogs. Obviously, I got Danny on the podcast. We had a discussion, I think it was after the pod. And it's like, and I said exactly to Danny what I said to you. I know you're going to get to 100k. You will. But you know what's mad? And I didn't want to jinx it. I almost want to do it from an accountability. I know I will as well. Yeah. And it's like, you start realising what things are possible. The one thing I want to touch on with you, I don't know how confident you are as a man, but the stuff you went through with your previous partner, kind of the roles you've went in, you've took the path of least resistance and all, or you haven't, but in your head you have. How did you get the balls to film yourself? Because for anyone watching right now, I said this to our last the other day, I would challenge any lad to go and get a camera, put it in the face, walk around the bridges. Yeah. It is solid. Yeah. People are going to think you're a weirdo. People are going to think, what's he filming? What's going on here? Like, why is he doing it? Yeah. So there's two questions. First one, I understand how you got into it. Why did you want to do it? Because for one, you're putting yourself all over social, which lad in the right mind wants to do that. Yeah. You're going to get some people are going to know you, and it's also going to come with stick as well, because naturally it will. It has to. It might not have yet, but it has to happen. The more you grow, the more eyeballs are on you. People are going to have an opinion. So why did you choose to do it now? How did you get the confidence?
So why I chose to do it, again, I'm going to blame Danny Vlogs. He kept saying, get into it. But in fairness, I felt like I had something to offer, and I am passionate about the community and where we're from. And I felt like if I focused on that and something I'm passionate about, the rest would just come organically. like the confidence in being proud from where I'm from, the confidence in knowing the history, or at least researching the history and putting it out there to share it with the rest of my community. Confidence-wise, I'll go back to them Saturday nights and having plenty of selfies on the Cooper Rose dance floor, mate. When you're kicking about there with your phone in the air every week, it kind of desensitizes you. Of course, you know, only half kidding, but it never was a factor for me walking around with a camera in my hand. I think because it's so prevalent in the public now, you will walk down the street and someone will have a selfie stick in the hand, or they'll have a camera in the hand and they're chuntering away to themselves. And I think the stigma around that has changed as well. It's not like a point and laugh, look at him, that sado over there, what's he recording for? It is kind of normalised now, particularly for likes of TikTok as well, where like the young ones are jumping on board and every kid's now got their own account where they're doing their own videos. It has become normalised. So I think that helped. Now, don't get us wrong, right in the beginning, when I decided to do like Durham and that, and I'm walking down the stairs and I'm like this, and there's like people having a bevy and they're looking over and that, you are conscious of it. But from a confidence side, never really been an issue. And I don't know, I just feel comfortable on a camera.
But you still haven't really said what the reason you wanted to do it was. Because I've got my own assumptions why people do YouTube and people do it social. But there's still got to be something, like I'm the same, mate, but there's still, it's all like, right, you said Danny Vlogs got you into it. If I tell you to rob banks, you're probably not going to do it. You've got to want to do it to start with, but there must have been some pull. I want to be everywhere. Do you want a name? Do you want fame? Do you want, is it just serious questions? Like, do you want acknowledgement for something? Like, is there something deeper that you're not seeing?
Maybe a psychologist would unpick that, but I certainly don't feel that. Maybe it goes back on that shop floor of I'll show you what I'm capable of. Maybe it was a challenge, and I am a competitive person. Whether I'm playing a date at bowling or whether I'm playing me dar at squash, there's no let up. Like, I want to win, and then I'm going to tell you about it after. It's just how I'm built. Maybe that was a challenge from Dan, and maybe it was a case of he's being successful. He's really good at it, but I can do that, and I can be just as good. Can I even sometimes go in a different direction and be better? So maybe it was that competition and proving myself. And again, maybe it comes back to that not having the confidence to try new things, reaching out for the comfort when the odd challenge does come up. And it's like, almost, I bet you don't dare do this. I'm going to rise to the challenge. So I think it's more a proving myself thing and matching a competition that would be the primary motivator. Then, of course, once you're in it. And the other things come, like being recognised, like getting recognition from councils, being invited to stuff. But if we're really to dig deep and look for the initial motivation, it probably is that competitive nature.
So interesting, because that is exactly why I do it. In the fact that I thought you weren't going to mention it, and I've asked a couple of people this question. As you say, I didn't script anything, so I just trying to let the conversation flow. But it's actually quite refreshing that you said that. So for me, I'm gonna tell you a little story, mate. Just a quick one. I had Chris Williamson on the podcast. He's grown one of the biggest podcasts in the world. I had him on the podcast, and it was through COVID. So I actually had a podcast previous. Like, I started it previously, rather, and then I just sacked it off. He jumped on a call with us, and I actually know him now, but at the time I didn't know him. And he jumped on a podcast with us, and he absolutely obliterated us to a point where it was my podcast. I had him on as a guest, and I've never felt out of my depth before in my life, apart from this one I don't know what it was, the fact that he was a podcaster. I think he might have had 400,000 subs now. He's 5-6 million, whatever he's on now. But at the time I thought, I can never feel like that again with another man in a conversation. So I thought, how do I, and I'm not trying to say I'm better than him, but I thought, how do I get to a level where I can hold my own? It's by having conversations. And that's literally one of the biggest reasons. The other reason was, I used to be shit at having conversations. So I thought, I need to get better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there was that. I remember, you probably remember it, even when I was at Asda, I was quite quiet.
Yeah, you were.
And that's what I mean. I remember them conversations when I'd stack shelves and there'd be a few of the lads who were both now, but would have crack on. It's like, come out tonight out with us. I never used to bother. I didn't want to mix with people. I was just very my own person in that respect. Like, I didn't really want to do it. I had my own friends, I had my own groups and stuff, but I used to feel like, they're workmates.
Yeah.
They're just lads who I not really bothered about. Like, not in a bad way, just But then as I got older, all my closest friends now are people in business.
Yeah.
Because what I've realised at 36-year-old, I've realised that I connect with people who are on the same path. And it's weird. I think you've got to have lived some life to get to that point. You mentioned Richie Howie at the start of the pod. I know who he is. I don't know him on that level or anything, but I know who he is. I've seen his work. And he's built something fucking remarkable.
Yeah. He's
a kid from the Northeast who's grafted his balls off, and he's built something to be proud of. The fact that there's these people in the industry, or these people, I mean, he's in fitness. I'm in fitness predominantly. And when I look at people like him, I think we can all do it. And I think, and this is a mad opinion, I think anybody watching this now, I think everybody should have a go. Because I think you're going to learn so much about yourself. You're going to learn to build your confidence, get better at speaking to public speaking in general.
Yeah.
It could be going on a date. It's everything about it. Like, you put more focus on yourself improvement when you've got some kind of social media.
Yeah.
Do you still, I know you said like when you're walking down Durham, you have them kind of weird, like when people are looking at you and that. Do you ever record something that I can't put that out? I didn't come across in the right way there. Or do you say something again for the purpose of the public? Or you genuinely, like, just be honest, mate. Do you genuinely just press record and go, whatever comes out me gob, it's going?
Yeah, I mean, you'll cut out the odd and the odd knack up of words and that, but anything else that comes out, that's what goes out. Again, probably because of the role I've got, I'm always conscious of what I'm saying anyway and coming across correctly in the right way. So when I'm talking, it'll never get to a stage where I feel like I'll say something inappropriate, because I'm always having to be appropriate because of the people I work with. So that's almost embedded in my brain now. So whatever comes out on camera is essentially what is going to be on. Like, I've had comments before, I think it was on Dan's, and we were in Vienna, and Dan was vlogging Vienna, and he wanted to get us to jump on, and he was asking us about the vlogging and how I was finding it. And I went down this conversation of how I was feeling it and that, and there was a couple of comments saying, oh, your mate's trying too hard. And I think it's because I was speaking in work speak, but that's just how I speak. It's all I know. So maybe it was coming across as, oh, he's trying to like come across smart. In reality, that's just how I now am, and that's what goes out on camera. So
I want to say this, mate, right? So when I watched, it's more when I've watched your content, because in person I haven't. But I remember, I think I spoke to you the odd time at Asda, and I kind of remember you, like even like seeing you about. I've obviously said all right you over the years and that, but I remember watching one of your videos, and I thought you speak very well. Like, you're from Endon, aren't you?
Yeah.
I know that's got nothing to do with it, but I thought, like, for a lad from down Endon, like, you've got a very well-rounded vocab, and even the way you come across. And when I watch your Sunderland walk around, there was a particular piece, you were talking about the elephant tea rooms and the elephants and the architecture and stuff. And this is just me, my observation. I thought you'd rehearsed it.
Right.
Because it sounded that fucking, what I'm trying to say, it sounded that good.
Yeah.
And I thought, mate, when I'm recording, I have takes after takes, mate. I might say, like, I did one the other day about the Weymouth Bridge. And I was trying to learn the facts. I was sitting in the car and I was trying to learn the facts. I was like, right, what I want to do is I want to just do a one. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Physically couldn't do it. I was like, I can't. I remember like the taglines of each fact. And then when I was butchering them, and I think I did actually butcher some of the things that I actually put out in the end. But I was like, I can't physically get this right. I've got to rehearse and practice, me, when it comes to that.
Yeah.
With a podcast, mate, it's so crazy because I don't plan anything.
Yeah.
And I never feel like I'm struggling. It's weird. Episode 1, Tony Jeffries, struggled a bit. So crazy. And with you, the fact that you've kind of learnt this in your normal job, it just transfers straight to YouTube, or keeps in YouTube to your socials.
Yeah.
What's your goal with it, John? Like, is it to be a vlogger? Is it to create long form on YouTube? Is it to be a better speaker? Is it to have more interactions with the community? Like, what is I understand why you're doing it, but what do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
You've got a platform now.
I think my primary goal is community input. I've already got plans in my head as to, when you get more exposure, what I want to do with it, getting monetized on platforms, what I want to do with that. Because I'm fortunate enough to have a decent job, and it's relatively stable and I love it. Money isn't my main driver for this. Again, probably is a bit of a unique circumstance, because I think you'd be foolish not to get in this game and think, once I reach this, I'm going to make this. Once I reach this, I'm going to make this. that's never going to be a motivator for me. I want to pretty much give the majority of it back in the community. Again, that people side. And it's not to be a hero. Again, that's not what motivates me in the slightest. Knowing I can help someone vulnerable with something I'm doing as a passion, that's like a dream. You know what I mean? Because I'm doing what I enjoy as a hobby. Somebody who needs it more than me is benefiting from it. The people who watch me don't have to invest anything monetary. All they have to do is leave a comment, a like, and that's creating this pot. It's like everyone can contribute to improving the community. Yeah, it's not costing any of us anything but a bit of time. And Facebook, for instance, is going to pay for it. That's my long-term ambition. I want to see genuine difference in the community. Obviously, we've started with the soup kitchen, and the businesses have been brilliant, giving away like takeaways and all that kind of stuff, really helping those in need. I don't want to stop there. If my platform at the end of it made a dent, a positive dent in my community, that makes it all worthwhile for me.
When you say your community, are you talking about Sunderland in general?
As far as it could stretch, but I think in the immediate community, Sunderland for sure. I'm going to be doing a bit of work soon, hopefully around like making awareness of homelessness in Sunderland and just shine a bit of a light on it.
Is that with the stadium and that?
It's going to be with, the soup kitchen. And so it might be another follow-on from like people who have seen the E17 video and raising for money for the soup kitchen, something to maybe follow on from that. But that is what I would love to do. Me old Nana would say, you kind of take away regarding the money. But I think if you're fine, you can do a hell of a lot with it. It's costing me nothing. I'm enjoying doing it. Why shouldn't I try and make a difference with it? That's how I see it. I'm genuinely not in this game for my gain. It's more, I'm always thinking, what can I do with this to improve things in the area? That's how I see it.
It's unbelievable, mate. It really is. You've got 10,000 followers now. How long have you been on? 4 months?
Yeah, started in September, yeah.
Wow. That's wild, mate. That's wild. Trajectory would say you'll be on 100k next year, end of this year. There's no reason why you can't, because you've got to think it's compounding as well.
Yeah.
So it's not something like, it's not going to take 4 months to get another 10k. Your platform that grows, obviously it's got, again, more demands on your time, more things to do. Do you have a plan on what you want to do content wise? Like, do you want to do a series? Do you want to get in a documentary? Do you want to get other people involved? I understand the charity work and things you overall holistically, but do you have an actual plan with your type of content you want to create? Is it just more vlogs, more cities, or is it all going to be Sunderland content?
Well, I think we spoke about this off camera when we've been talking about our relative pages and that, and evergreen content was used, wasn't it? And it's great to show off the local area, that kind of stuff, and it's what I am passionate about, as with a couple of the lads. But you've also, if you want to grow, try and resonate with a broader audience. Now, how that looks, I am going to be honest, I'm not quite sure. I do like the idea of maybe day in the lifey type stuff, incorporating that. I would love to be able to incorporate my job into the social media, merge the two somehow. I don't know how that would play out logistically, because that would take a lot of conversations with work, because it's end of the day, it's exposing the charity. As far as a plan and content, no plan. Again, maybe that comfort thing. I know I'm good at vlogging the local area. I'll stick to it for a bit, unless there's something I know I can achieve, or unless it's a challenge. Someone maybe might challenge, I bet you can't do this type of content. Well, I'll show you, and all of a sudden it'll be on my page. So that there will eventually have to be a little transitional period where I do dip me toe into other evergreen long-term things. What that looks like as a plan, a business plan if you like, I'm not quite sure. I just know it will be something I'll have to look at. I mean, what did you find yourself? What was your trajectory like? What, dipping into different content?
It's been a tricky one, John. So started the YouTube as a podcast, did about 90 odd episodes. My plan was to do 100. I did 90 odd. I'm on 157 now. And after 90 odd, what I realised was logistically I couldn't just... Basically, people wanted more content and I couldn't give them more podcasts. That's what I'm getting at. because you know yourself, mate, it's a setup, it's a whole thing. You've got people, venues, logistics, getting guests, people dropping you in the shit, which happens.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, how do I give them more content? Well, one thing I do is, fortunately, my job, I travel a lot. So I thought, why not, for me, make videos where I'm just walking, like I did one where I was walking around Mexico City. There's people with guns escorting us to shops, which was wild. And I put it on, I was like, but that's for me. And then when I went to the Ibiza with my missus, I created one there, and I thought Tenerife, and then I was like, I'll do one in LA, so I was like, it's fucking wild. But for me, selfishly, deep down, I'm like, but this is my log. This is my life. Like, it's class to look back. Even now, I'll look at old videos and I'm like, well, that was pretty cool, that. I was there, that was wicked. But it kind of divided my audience, I think. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people subscribed for the podcast, and that was grown. And, you know, the Chris Williams in the world, they were all aware of us. Yeah. So I was doing something right. And I believe I still am. Obviously, having guests like yourself. But there was a lot of people. I was on around 11,000 subscribers at that time. 12,000 maybe. And a lot of people were supporting for the podcast. Then I started putting these vlogs out. And then that grew me to 21,000. So, I mean, amalgamation of both. But at the same time, I know that a lot of people only know about the podcast because of vlogs. So I've had lads who I've seen in the street, yes, mate, I watch your podcast. And now they're watching the vlogs, vice versa. Oh, I didn't know you had a podcast, mate. I seen a video you did in Seam. Oh, sweet. So it definitely works, but I'm trying to get more niche in me vlogging. I don't want to just be like, I've done food reviews, I've done mad, just trying shit to see what the crack is. But again, I'm filming my experience. But how can I go from having John Hardy on a podcast to eating some tacos in fucking Mexico? It's very... So I think if you're a vlogger like Danny, I think you can get away with it. I think people, if he eats some cake, they'll love it. I think someone like yourself, I feel like it's more community driven, and you'll grow rapid because of that. Like, people will get behind you as a person. I think if you start vlogging, I think you've just got to be careful, because people didn't really want to watch someone who's banging on about themselves all the time. No. If it's a conversational piece, you can get away with it. If it's you talk to the community, you can get away with it. Or I give to charity, great, because you're helping, you're involved. Yeah. But I think there's got to be a very fine balance. What's great about Danny in particular is I feel, and I don't know Danny very well, I think he's just authentic as fuck. Yeah. So like he's complained about certain things before. He's mentioned like just different things he wants to do with his life, and you know, if I get more money, I'll leave my job to do it. And he's made it very, very clear. And I think a lot of people get behind, almost like we want Danny to leave his job. Champion him. Yeah. It's like that. So I think there's that. With me, I'm a videographer anyway. Yeah. So why not do this? Because I can. And like there might have been one or two people doing it in the Northeast before me. So I was quite early into it. So I think I kind of got a bit of an advantage then. Because like I grew to that on YouTube. And again, it's only a small following to me, but at the same time, I think that's why I kind of... But I'm not as good as you, lads. But I think I got in early. With you being involved, what I will say is, and I think everyone should give it a go, because I think it's good for you, personal growth. I do think, you know, that you're probably one of the last people through the gates in vlogging. I think, mate, I don't know if you've seen on you, a lot of people now are just vlogging. Like, and it's great, but views are definitely diluting. Yeah. If you type in Newcastle vlog, I did it just last night. If you type in Newcastle vlog, there's like Steve just vlogging around his street, and then you've got like Dexter who's doing it. Like, it's wild, which is good, but at the same time, a lot of people are starting to see this as slop content. Yeah. And that's the fear. So I think you've got to kind of mould your own. Absolutely. I think you do need a niche. And like I say, mine will always be that community pride. I think that's the avenue I would always go down, and how this can benefit the community, which in turn would inform my content. If the aim is to improve the community, then it's only natural that the content would lean towards community. I am also conscious though that you can end up ramming stuff like that down people's throats, and it's like, oh, he's doing this again, or you know, he's doing this bit for the community, that bit, and the novelty will wear off, and it can get boring for people. So it is that balance of like, yes, you want to do all these good things, but you didn't want to get people to get bored with it as well. And it is about striking that right balance of a niche, but enough of a broad spectrum to keep it interesting. Have you ever wanted to fuck it all off? The vlogging?
No, not since I've started. Don't get us wrong, it does take up a lot of time. You'll know yourself. Like, it's not just a case of I'm done filming, happy days, upload. It's the edit and all of that stuff. But every now and then, even if there's like a little moment where I wouldn't quit it, but when I'm like, oh, this is a lot of work, this on top, I don't know for certain if like fate's a thing in that, but something will just happen. And if I'm starting to question something, I'll get a little sign. And whether that's just a coincidental timeline, I'm not sure. But for instance, when Richie shouted us out, growth was slow. And yes, growth's not everything, but it's a motivator. And maybe I was just starting to think, is this taking up a lot of my time? I'm enjoying it, but shall I invest as much time? Before you know it, Richie shouts us out and I've gained 3,000 followers overnight. And then other stuff's came up where people's reached out and they've said, I saw this, you've inspired us to do this. Just as I'm starting to think, getting on top of us this a bit like, and that just makes it all worth it. So there's never been a point where I've thought, I'm going to sack all this off. I think because I've built a community now as well on the page, I feel like it is, for all there's 10,000, the majority is a close-knit community. Like, I feel like I know these people and I feel like they know me. So I feel like I've got a service to them as well to keep it going. Not as if it's like a ball and chain, but I genuinely want these people to share in what I'm experiencing. And hopefully that comes across in like the dialogue I have in the comments and things. I want to keep that connection. I relate it back to my job as well. For all my jobs, primarily office-based now, I always want to be on the shop floor and around the service users because that's where I want to be, right amongst it, the coal face. And I think it's the same with the vlogging. I want to build that personal connection. People feel like they're on a journey with me. And that's another inspiration to keep going.
Unbelievable, mate. I want to ask you a bit of a different question here. I kind of understand you as a character and why you're doing what you're doing. You strike us as someone who has probably overcame something in your life. And I don't know, mate, I'm weird. I'm read people. I feel it's weird. I feel like there's something that you've overcome in your life and you've never shared it. What would you say has been the hardest day of your life? Or the hardest time?
I'll have to think about that one. I mean, there's been a couple where you think that it was a difficult time to pull through. I did have a gambling addiction.
Did you?
As part of being that waste of space period, if you like. And I'm happy to call it that because I feel like I've grown as a person where I can reflect on my younger self. And I was just spinning my wheels, doing nothing, as I've said. I was probably in with a bit of the wrong crowd. And this was before Asda. And it would be a case of like, I'd just left a job at a call centre down Hendon. Little Woods it was, for those that can remember Brian Mills. Didn't have a job, in between jobs, totally lost me way. And I was just gone to the pool hall and I was hopping on the bandits. And I would put a tenner in and then I'd spend that tenner. So I'd run up to the cash machine, get 20 quid out, go on the bandit, 20's gone, go again. Me bank statement, I was still living at home because I was so young at the time, would come through the door. And the thought of my mum seeing that bank statement, and I've been to the cash machine 6 times and took out 10s and 20s, I knew was going to cause me loads of aggro, rightly so, because I haven't got a job. Clearly, a lot of that money is what perhaps my mum and dad's built over time for us when I've left school. Right, here's your pot, which you usually find. And I was just blowing it on fruit machines. There was an instance where I'd won 250 quid on one, halfies with a mate, got 125 quid, and I moved on to the next bandit and put it all in there. Chasing the light, chasing the money, and I guess chasing that stimulation, instant stimulation, you know.
Did it stop at bandits?
It did, in fairness. There was a couple of times I went in bookies and had to go on the roulette and that, but it never got out of control. I was just literally in this pattern where I would go play pool, but that was just a vehicle to get to the bandits.
It's wild because, like, do you see when I said there, there's you know, people who get into YouTube, mate, and honestly, mate, it's such a similar trait or characteristic. It's hard. You know, when you're saying about before Richie shouted you out and it's hard, you get to a point when you're putting out content and you're like, mate, on this channel, the ContentCAST, right, there's 22,000 of us. And it's mint. And the mint, mate, they really are. Every single person who watches the content is just literally the only reason why I keep going. Because now I'm over the point of having conversations.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Now I'm just like, it's mint. But I think there's like a level where when I'll put a video out now, it'll get 100 views. Still happens. So I could work with someone else, it'll get 200,000 views. And I've seen both. And it can be really disheartening. But thankfully, I'm at a point now where the view, it's not the view, it's everything that comes with it that I like. So the views, don't get us wrong, I'm still a bit like, I wish I performed because I put a lot of effort into that. But on the flip side, I'm like, yeah, but look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
You've done 158 episodes now, not 157.
Yeah.
And when I'm on 500, where will I be? You're not looking at that one episode. I look at the kind of the overarching thing.
Yeah.
With that being said, that's why I just thought straight away that there's, mate, I would say anybody who's on social media trying to grow and follow and have been through some shit, it's fucking mad. But I feel like it's a little hack.
Yeah.
So if you ever meet anyone who's on social putting out content, there's something that's gone on. I do believe that. And I see it all the time, and I never thought that you would have said that about the gambling thing. But I think it's good because it's transparent. And it just goes to show, mate, it doesn't matter who you are. We can all have our own little problems like that.
Yeah, and do you know what the ironic thing is? I think I've even probably buried that so much that it took me a while to remember that. And it's almost like evolving as a person, I've left that person behind. Because when I think of that person, I think of all the people I let down. Particularly my parents who'd built that money. Now you can imagine as yes, a waste of space, but a waste of space with empathy. So I'm a waste of space using all that money, but then my empathy's realising how upset it's making me mum and dad. Quite the tear up inside. Again, total accountability, totally my fault. But again, looking back.
Did they ever find out?
So yeah, I knew that bank statement was going to, knew, absolutely knew. Like my bank statement would come through the letterbox, and of course, my mum, I was still very young, so my mum was I was under her roof. She's in charge of my finances. She's got every right, and she knew something was up. So she would say straight away on the statement, like 5-6 withdrawals every other day, like no job. And it's like, as a parent, how you must feel, particularly because when I was going through like nursery, primary school and that, I was probably high up in the class for like progress and what would be perceived as potential. I think it was once I hit comp and that, obviously hormones, puberty, all that, your mind kind of changes, the chemicals in your body, the environment, all that kind of stuff. So they probably saw that potential, and then it's like I fell off a cliff. And I went from having these aspirations and dreams as a really young person to spinning me wheels, wasting my life away, spending all their savings that they've worked very hard for over the years for me to slot in a bandit and never see again.
Really slippery slope, that.
Very.
It's I know that sounds mad, but obviously I've had people on the podcast who've gambled a lot of money and stuff and things. And mate, that's the gateway of that. Them bandits and things like that. And as much as people might be watching this going, oh man, he lost a few £100 and boo-hoo. But at the same time, mate, that could have been a whole lot worse if your parents weren't as nice or whatever, and you didn't take accountability. That could have been the gateway to everything. That, because I bet you had some sleepless nights.
I did, yeah, absolutely. Because you reflect and you think, it's like you get stuck in a trance. It's like you're not in control of your body. It's like people have experienced binge eating, people have experienced other addictions. It's like you're not in control here. Something's took over and you're just a passenger. Except you take the driver's seat when it's all hour and the crash comes and it's time to reflect and be held accountable. And it's an awful feeling. It really is. I think about it now. I'll never be able to do enough for like my mum and my dad and that kind of family side to repay them. That's a motivator for me as well. Like, I'll try and go out my way, not only as my duty as a son, but to try and undo that damage that I've done in the past. Now, my mum and my dad, it's probably not a second thought of them and hasn't been for years and years because I'm not that person anymore. But subconsciously for me, I think it's always going to be a motivator where I want to give back to them. I want to make them proud of us. And maybe this all ties into the job and stuff and the vlogging. Maybe it's nice to have your own ambition, but maybe it's an ambition knowing that it's going to please people who've invested in me and love me the most.
No, that's brilliant, mate. I think you. I mean, you, outside of YouTube, mate, you socials, like, your career kind of screams. You're helping people and giving people back. I'm sure they're looking at you now, going, "He's a good son." Do you know what I mean? I don't doubt that at all, mate. You clearly are a good lad. So, final question for you, John. If someone is thinking about starting social media, vlogging, or doing something, or they are already vlogging and they're stuck in the mud with it, and they're like, "I'm not getting like you. I'm at 1,000 subs or 1,000 followers, and I'm not growing." Mm-hmm. I know how disheartening that can be. Now, you did it in 4 months. It took us. I know it's a different platform, but it's still like, that is solid, mate. Regardless, it took me 2 years to 10K. What advice would you give to them?
I think it will be an easy opportunity here to give the generic advice of keep going, it'll work out, be consistent, which are key, but all the buzzwords that everyone can hoy out. I think it's more about finding your purpose and why you're truly doing it. For instance, mine's community impact predominantly, but then rising to a challenge for myself. I think people need to find the purpose and why they're doing it, and find the vlogging or filming something they're passionate about, not what the crowd want to see. Dan gave us that advice, actually. When you're talking about views and stuff, and we were doing a bit of holiday vlogging and the views weren't doing as well, and I was like, I'll ask what the audience prefers. And Dan commented saying, "You vlog what you want, it's your page." And it was such a simple sentence, but it just put everything in perspective for me. It's got to be what you're passionate about, because then if it's not, you're not going to cross authentic. You're going to be that people pleaser. So that would be my advice. Find your purpose and make sure it's something you're passionate about.
John, The Hardy Life, thank you so much for coming on, mate. I think this one was packed full of value for people who maybe are thinking about getting into content, or they want to know a bit more about yourself, understand kind of what it's all like going through, feeling crap going down Durham Bank with the camera behind you and all that type of jazz. But I hope you have all the success in the world, mate. I'm sure you will. And hit 100k and let's do another part.
Likewise, Ads. You're doing brilliant stuff, and thanks for having us on. It's been a great chat.
Appreciate it, mate. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. No, I do. Class that, mate.